Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome back to another explainer. You've likely poured a ton of time, energy, and let's face it, hard-earned cash into your off-grid solar setup. But looking closely at the engineering safety docs brings up a pretty massive question. Are we actually protecting all that expensive gear, or are we kind of just crossing our fingers and hoping for the best? Today, we're unpacking the definitive, structured rules of 600-volt DC surge protection straight from the engineering specs.
Because here's the scary truth. When lightning strikes nearby, or a massive high-voltage transient hits your array, your system doesn't get a warning text, it just gets hit, instantly. And reading through the case studies makes one thing crystal clear. Without a properly engineered surge protection setup, all that immense energy, it goes straight into the heart of your expensive inverter. Just relying on luck, yeah, that absolutely doesn't cut it out in the field.
So to make sure we're fully covered, this explainer is going to act as our roadmap. We'll start off with the invisible threat, then look at exactly how to handle sizing for cold weather, walk through the installation blueprint, cover grounding and wiring rules, and wrap up with avoiding catastrophic failures.
All right, let's jump straight into Section 1, the invisible threat, where we really need to move beyond surface-level solar advice. Now, what's really interesting about this is that if you've only been following standard everyday tutorials, you might be walking around with a completely false sense of security. When you look at the actual engineering definition of a surge protection device, or SPD, it's a bit of a reality check. It does not stop lightning. It's not a lightning rod, and it's definitely not a fuse. It's a voltage clamp. Under normal, sunny day conditions, it does absolutely nothing. But in that exact split-second, millisecond when a crazy voltage spike hits, it wakes up and activates, instantly redirecting that destructive energy safely straight into the ground.
But here's the real kicker highlighted in all these engineering failure reports. A poorly installed SPD is arguably way worse than having no SPD at all, mostly because of the false confidence it gives you. We're seeing huge safety gaps out there. Things like ignoring cold weather calculations, confusing maximum operating voltage with just normal everyday system voltage, totally failing to differentiate between Type 1 and Type 2 devices, and, just completely ignoring how incorrect wire lengths absolutely ruin the protection. We really have to look at how these devices function electrically, not just theoretically.
Which brings us right into Section 2, sizing for cold weather. This is the math that actually prevents equipment explosions.
We really need a total paradigm shift here when it comes to how weather alters electricity. Take a look at this stark contrast. When solar panels are tested in the factory, they're rated at a nice, balmy 25 degrees Celsius. But here's the wild part. As the temperature drops outside, your panel voltage actually rises. It goes up. So if you size your SPD based on warm summer weather, that very first freezing winter morning could push your array's voltage right past the SPD's maximum rating. And ironically, your so-called safety device might literally be the very first thing to violently blow up.
Okay, let's demystify the math here step by step. Don't worry, it's not too bad. First, you calculate your total array open circuit voltage, that's your VOC, simply by multiplying a single panel's VOC by the number of panels you have wired in series. Easy enough, right? Next, we have to factor in the freezing cold. Panels have what's called a negative temperature coefficient, usually around negative 0.3% for every degree it drops. That negative simply means as the temp goes down, the voltage spikes up. You apply that math to your local record winter lows, and that gives you the absolute golden rule. Your SPD's maximum continuous operating voltage, the UC, absolutely must be greater than or equal to your calculated cold VOC.
Now, for a lot of small to mid-sized setups, a 600-volt rating is a fantastic target. It usually gives you plenty of headroom. But, and this is a big but, a 600-volt SPD is only an acceptable choice if your own personal, local, cold weather math actually confirms your array will never, ever exceed that number on the absolute coldest day of the year.
Let's see how this builds in Section 3, the installation blueprint, specifically where and exactly how to mount your SPD.
The engineering manuals treat this as a super strict, non-negotiable step-by-step process. Step 1, identify your mounting location. This is usually right at the charge controller input or out in a combiner box. Step 2, connect it in parallel, positive to positive, negative to negative. Never, ever in series. Step 3, minimize your wire length as much as physically possible. Step 4, establish a rock-solid grounding connection. And finally, step 5, double-check your polarity and make sure you torque down every single terminal to the manufacturer's specs. Now, when you're actually online or at the store buying one of these devices, you need to look way beyond just that voltage rating. First off, you specifically need a Type 2 DC SPD for array protection.
Then check the discharge current ratings. The nominal discharge current, you'll see it listed as IN on the spec sheet. That should be a minimum of 5 to 20 kiloamps. And the expected maximum surge capacity, or Imax, should sit somewhere around 20 to 40 kiloamps for typical off-grid setups. Knowing these exact numbers before you hit that checkout button is a total game changer.
Moving right along to Section 4, Grounding and Wiring Rules. This is all about eliminating hidden inductance and resistance.
So the crucial point here is that physical wiring constraints can silently sabotage an otherwise perfectly calculated setup. The engineering docs call this the inductance trap. Now the formula here is voltage equals inductance times the rate of change of current over time. What does that actually mean for us? Well, during a massive surge, the electrical current changes in microseconds. So longer wires create higher inductance, and higher inductance literally creates a higher surge voltage right at your sensitive equipment. Basically, every extra centimeter of wire acts as an electrical bottleneck. You've got to keep those leads as short and straight as physically possible.
And that leads us to the most absolute, non-negotiable rule found across every single one of these sources. Your SPD is truly only as good as your ground, period. Without a proper, low-resistance, low-impedance path to the Earth, all that massive redirected surge energy literally has nowhere to go. It's going to find its own path, and unfortunately, that path is probably going to be right through your expensive inverter's main circuit board.
To make sure that never happens, your grounding system needs a few very specific elements. First, a proper low-resistance earth rod. That's the actual backbone of your entire protection scheme. You also need incredibly solid, physically torqued connections. Zero corrosion allowed, meaning you must use outdoor-rated, weather-resistant clamps. And finally, low-impedance routing. That means absolutely no sharp 90-degree bends in your thick grounding wire. Smooth, direct lines are exactly what we want.
Finally, we reach Section 5, avoiding catastrophic failures. This is what actually happens when those rules are broken. And this brilliantly illustrates how taking amateur shortcuts translates directly into real-world disasters. Let's break it down. Underrated your SPD voltage because you ignored the cold weather math? That leads to a catastrophic physical failure or even an explosion. High impedance or no ground at all? That massive surge energy just gets redirected right back into your system. What about leaving your connection leads way too long? That results in totally ineffective clamping of the transient voltage. Loose terminal connections? That creates massive heat buildup and an immediate failure point. And installing it in the wrong spot? Well, that just gives you partial system protection at best.
You know, one of the most surprising takeaways from diving into all this is realizing that an SPD is actually a consumable safety device. It is absolutely not an install-and-forget permanent fixture. Every single time it clamps down on a small, unseen surge, its internal components degrade silently. That's why it's absolutely crucial to use models that have visual indicator windows, the ones that flip from green to red when they're spent, and to get out there and inspect them periodically.
So we've gone through the math, the layout blueprint, the grounding rules, and the very real physical risks. Now it's time to look at your own hardware. Ask yourself, did you actually calculate your specific array's cold weather open circuit voltage before you bought your current SPD? If you didn't, or if you're suddenly kinda not sure, well, grab a calculator right after this. Your entire system's survival might literally depend on it. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep exploring.